In a world beyond time, the legendary Monkey King Wukong defies the heavens, soaring through clouds on his mystical staff. But suddenly, a disturbance in the fabric of time pulls him into an era of ancient legends, the creation of gods. Wukong lands in a tumultuous battlefield where gods and mortals clash. In the heart of this chaos, he senses a dark power rising, led by the tyrannical Emperor Zhou, a ruler bent on controlling the fate of humanity through dark magic. Amidst the turmoil, Wukong encounters Zhang Zia, the wise strategist tasked with re-establishing divine order. But first, Wukong tests Zhang Zia's mettle in a duel, revealing a spark of camaraderie and respect. Impressed by Zhang Zia's brilliance, Wukong joins forces with him, intrigued by the epic challenge of not just facing a tyrant, but of restoring balance between heaven and earth. As they march towards Emperor Zhou's palace, Wukong faces a new kind of enemy: demonic spirits and godlike generals, empowered by dark sorcery. The tyrant himself, clad in glistening armor, wields the fury of the nine-tailed fox demon. With each swing of his staff, Wukong battles through monstrous minions, a whirlwind of energy and defiance. But the stakes are high, and the fate of Zhang Zia's divine plan hangs by a thread. In the heat of battle, a choice emerges. Zhang Zia offers Wukong a chance to transcend his legend, to join the ranks of the newly invested gods and shape the destiny of the cosmos. But the Monkey King, ever the rebel, must decide. Will he embrace divinity or carve his own path through the annals of myth? The next chapter of Wukong's legend is yet to be written. Join Wukong on his journey through time, where legends are born and destinies collide. Most of you are familiar with the Buddha who subdued Sun Wukong and the Jade Emperor who rules the celestial heavens. However, before Buddha came into enlightenment and before the Jade Emperor took over heaven's rule, this being is the big boss of everything. He is none other than the Celestial Venerable, otherwise known as Yuanshi Tiansun, who is said to be a primordial being of unlimited power, and he created heaven and earth. Jade Emperor was in fact his assistant before being handed over the administration of heaven. He is a being without beginning and the most supreme of all beings. Now let's continue with the story. High atop the celestial peaks of Kunlun, hidden from mortal eyes, a young man is forged in the fires of divine wisdom. His name is Zhang Zia. Under the watchful gaze of the Celestial Venerable, he is not just trained in combat, but in the ancient knowledge of the heavens and the balance of the cosmos. But the peace of the heavens is fleeting. A dark prophecy looms. In the mortal realm, the once noble Emperor Zhou has fallen under the influence of the nine-tailed fox demon, Daji. His reign has twisted the Shang dynasty into a force of chaos and corruption, casting shadows over the world below. As Zhang Ziya's training nears completion, his master reveals his true destiny. He is to descend to the mortal realm, where the heavens no longer hold sway, and guide the forces of justice against Emperor Zhou's tyranny. But first, he must pass one final trial, a test of will. Confronted by illusions of fallen kings and visions of Emperor Zhou's cruelty, Zhang Ziya's resolve is tested. Darkness tempts him, but his heart remains pure, his mind clear. He emerges victorious, and the Celestial Venerable nods in approval. The time has come. In the mortal realm, rumors begin to spread of a rebellion. A noble lord, King Wen of Zhou, has begun to rise against Emperor Zhou's cruel reign. The people whisper of a divine figure destined to guide them, a celestial advisor, Zhang Ziya. With his training complete, Zhang Ziya stands at the peak of Kunlun, gazing down upon the world in turmoil. His mission is clear: to restore balance, to lead the rebellion, and to end the darkness consuming the Shang dynasty. The journey ahead is fraught with peril, but Zhang Ziya knows the future of both mortals and gods now rests upon his shoulders. And so, he descends from the heavens, stepping into a world on the brink of war. His story has just begun, and the fate of the universe lies in his hands. At the heart of the Shang dynasty's grandeur lies a throne of darkness. Upon it sits Emperor Zhou, once a warrior of honor, now consumed by ambition and cruelty. But behind his rise to power stands another being of ancient malice, the nine-tailed fox demon, Daji. Zhou was once hailed as a hero. His conquest brought glory to the Shang dynasty, and his strength was unmatched. But even the greatest of men are not immune to temptation. In Daji, he found a beauty beyond compare, and promises of power beyond his wildest dreams. She whispered to him of forbidden knowledge, dark sorcery that would grant him the strength to rule not only the earth, but the heavens themselves. Zhou listened, unaware that every word tied him closer to Daji's control. Her dark magic warped his mind, fueling his descent into madness. Under Daji's influence, Zhou's reign became one of unparalleled cruelty. His palace, once a symbol of glory, became a fortress of fear. Those who opposed him faced unimaginable horrors. Ministers, civilians, even his most loyal generals. None were spared from his wrath. Daji, ever by his side, relished in the suffering she helped create. In his court, treachery was met with the cruelest of punishments. The wine pool and meat forest, Zhou's grotesque invention, was the ultimate display of his sadistic power. Drowning his enemies in wine, forcing them to feast on death, all while Daji's sinister laughter echoed through the halls. Zhou's cruelty was no mere madness. It was power, dark, unholy power that Daji channeled through him. With every act of malice, the emperor grew stronger. His armies, bound by fear and sorcery, became unstoppable. The skies darkened, and hope faded from the land. But even as the world crumbled beneath his feet, Zhou's ambitions soared higher. The mortal realm was not enough. With Daji's dark powers, he dreamed of conquering the heavens themselves, of becoming a god king who would rule over all creation. Now his throne is surrounded by shadows, his empire teetering on the edge of oblivion. His reign of terror, once unstoppable, begins to falter. But Zhou remains defiant. With Daji at his side, he believes himself invincible, unassailable, and he will not rest until all bow before him or perish. Yet in the darkness, whispers of rebellion begin to stir. The heavens have taken notice, and a challenge to Zhou's reign approaches. But for now, the emperor sits upon his throne, a puppet of evil, his malice unchecked, and the land drowns in shadow. In the stormy skies, two legends emerge. Neja, the rebellious third prince, and Lei Zhenzi, otherwise known as Thunder Boy. Their destinies are about to collide with a rising rebellion against the dark forces of Emperor Zhou. Neja, born to General Li Jing, was once a symbol of chaos. His power was unmatched, but his defiance of the heavens brought only tragedy. In an act of redemption, Neja sacrificed his life, seeking to spare his family from his reckless destruction. But the gods were not finished with him. Reborn in a body of lotus flowers, Neja was granted a second chance. Now, as a divine warrior, he wields the cosmic ring, fire-tipped spear, and rides upon his windfire wheels. He burns with the spirit of rebellion, determined to strike down the tyranny of Emperor Zhou, a reflection of the darkness he once fought within. Across distant mountains, the heavens gave birth to another warrior. Thunder Boy, son of the storms, was transformed by divine power, his thunder wings capable of summoning the fury of the skies. Raised in isolation, he was feared for his immense strength, but now a greater threat calls him to action. Zhang Zia, chosen by the Celestial Venerable to lead the Zhou army, knows that to defeat Emperor Zhou, the rebellion needs the strength of heroes as powerful as the gods themselves. He calls upon Neja and Thunder Boy to join the fight, to stand against the rising darkness. Neja, eager to prove his worth and fight for redemption, accepts without hesitation. His loyalty now lies with the Zhou army, for only by fighting this tyranny can he cleanse the shadow of his past. Thunder Boy, born of storm and thunder, hesitates, but the growing rebellion stirs something deep within him, a desire for justice. His power, once feared, now has purpose. He answers the call, knowing that this battle will shake the heavens. Together, Neja and Thunder Boy join Sun Wukong, Zhang Zia, and the Zhou forces. Their mission, to overthrow the tyrant Emperor Zhou and end the corruption of Daji. The storm of battle is near, and the fate of both heaven and earth now rests on their shoulders. With Neja's fiery spirit and Thunder Boy's thunderous might, the rebellion grows stronger. But as the forces of light gather, so too do the dark powers that fuel Emperor Zhou. The battle for the fate of the dynasty and all of creation has only just begun. Heroes rise, darkness stirs, and the storm of war approaches. The clash between light and shadow will soon shake the heavens. Led by Sun Wukong and Zhang Jia, the Zhou army is set toward the dark palace of Emperor Zhou. As they approach the walls of the palace, Zhang Jia raises his hand, warning the troops to be on guard. The emperor's strongest enforcers guard the path ahead. From the darkness, 4 towering figures emerge, the Diablo brothers. The eldest, a monstrous figure of brute strength, Diablo Green wields the green cloud blade, a weapon so deadly it decimates all life that draws near. His sheer power crushes all in his path. The second brother, master of dark magic, with his Havoc umbrella, Diablo Red summons shadows from the air, blotting out the sky and extinguishing all light, casting the battlefield into despair. The third, a master of the elements of wind and fire. With a stroke of his Jade Pipa, Diablo C conjures firestorms and gales, scorching the earth and consuming all life in his fury. The youngest and fastest, Diablo Life, moves like lightning, striking where the enemy is weakest. He unleashes his flying mink upon his foes, a ferocious creature that devours everything in its path. The Zhou army is overwhelmed by the Diablo brothers' destructive powers, but the tide of battle shifts as Neja and Thunderboy join the fight. Neja spins his flaming wheels, charging toward the mighty Diablo Green. Wielding his fire-tipped spear, Neja's fiery strikes counter the brute's power, his agility unmatched as he dodges the deadly blows of the green cloud blade. Thunderboy soars through the skies, summoning bolts of lightning from his wings to strike Diablo C. His thunderous attacks tear through the fiery storms, challenging the elemental fury of the third brother. As the battle rages, hope emerges from the heavens. Yang Jian, the three-eyed warrior, descends to aid the Zhou army. His divine sight pierces through the darkness of Diablo Red, countering the shadows summoned by the Havoc umbrella. With Yang Jian's divine power, the Zhou army rallies. Sun Wukong faces off against Diablo Green, matching his brute strength with the unstoppable might of his Rui Jingubang. Yang Jian's third eye pierces Diablo Life's lightning-fast strikes. He transforms into the flying mink and devours the youngest brother. Together, Neja and Thunderboy neutralize Diablo C with their combined might. From the shadows of Emperor Zhou's palace, a new figure emerges, Grandmaster Wenzong, the dark and twisted Grand Advisor. He applauded the Zhou army's efforts for defeating the Diablo brothers, but beckoned them to prepare for the end, as the true power of the Emperor lies beyond these walls. The Diablo brothers are later appointed the 4 heavenly kings, tasked to guard the pearly gates of heaven, and continues to make a cameo in Journey to the West. The Zhou army presses onward, deeper into the heart of darkness, but the journey is not over. Awaiting them is a formidable force, a sorcerer of unmatched power, the Grand Advisor to Emperor Zhou, Wenzong. Shrouded in dark magic, Grandmaster Wenzong stands atop a crumbling staircase, his presence distorting the air around him. His eyes glow with sinister light as he raises his twin rods, weaving a powerful enchantment that ripples through the atmosphere. Wenzong taunted, "You may have defeated the Diablo brothers, but your victory ends here. I am not so easily bested." The battlefield shifts as Wenzong's sorcery takes hold. He conjures dark seals to bind Yang Jian, Sun Wukong, Neja, and Thunderboy, and unleashes a deadly plague which decimates a large portion of mortal soldiers. The Zhou warriors falter, but one among them steps forward, Zhang Jia. Zhang Jia strides into the center of the battlefield, his staff glowing with divine energy. As the Grand Advisor to King Wu, Zhang Jia has long stood as a champion of righteousness, but now he faces his dark counterpart. With a single chant, Zhang Jia summons divine light to counter Wenzong's black magic. The 2 Grand Advisors clash in a battle of sorcery and strategy, their powers tearing at the fabric of reality. Wenzong conjures illusions and shadowy phantoms to deceive and ensnare his enemy. Zhang Jia counters with ancient seals, banishing the illusions and turning the shadows into light. Wenzong conjures deadly blasts of dark energy, but Zhang Jia responds with divine glyphs, reflecting the attacks back at their source. The battlefield becomes a chessboard of spells and counterspells, each move more powerful than the last. The heavens themselves seem to tremble as their magic collides. sparks of divine light and dark energy crackling through the air. With each passing moment, the balance of power shifts, neither yielding an inch. In a brilliant flash, Zhang Zia catches Wenzong off guard and unleashes his most powerful spell, divine chains of celestial energy that attempt to bind Wenzong, locking him in place. As the chains close in around him, Wenzong struggles, his dark magic faltering against Zhang Zia's divine power. But instead of surrendering, Wenzong dissolves into the shadows, his form vanishing as he flees toward the depths of Emperor Zhou's domain. His destination, the lair of his master, the Grand Master of Heaven, the true source of his dark power. The true battle for the fate of the realm is about to begin. In the beginning, there was the supreme teacher, Hong Jun. He has 3 disciples under his tutelage. Lao Zi is the first student, Celestial Venerable is the second, and the third student is the Grand Master of Heaven. Celestial Venerable is the patriarch of the Heaven sect, while Grand Master of Heaven is the patriarch of the spiritual sect. The difference in their teachings is that the Heaven sect emphasizes on following the ways of the natural divine. They pick their students and they do not spread the teachings to just anybody, while spiritual sect sees all beings as the same, humans, animals, plants alike. As long as they have a spirit and willing to learn the ways of life, they are accepted as students. Now let's continue with the story. The defeat of Wenzong echoes through the halls of the spiritual sect. Whispers of humiliation reach the Grand Master of Heaven, tales that his rivals, the Celestial Venerable and the ancient Lao Zi, mock his power, casting shadows on his rule. Fury ignites within him. To prove the spiritual sect's dominance, he decides to unleash a terror unseen in the heavens, the God Annihilation Formation. 14 of his strongest disciples, each a wielder of darkness, are summoned. They gather around him, their combined force darkening the skies as a blood-red power begins to surge. With his disciples at his side, the Grand Master of Heaven raises his staff. Dark magic coils and spins, binding itself into the very fabric of the God Annihilation Formation. The ground trembles, the heavens darken. This formation, born of pure fury and spite, is poised to obliterate the Heaven sect, unless someone can stand against it. Meanwhile, Zhang Zia, his energy drained from the last battle, senses the impending doom. Desperation fills his voice as he calls upon the Celestial Venerable for aid. Just as the formation's dark energy pulses, a divine light breaks through the heavens. The Celestial Venerable descends, his presence like a beacon of hope. At his side, 12 loyal disciples, each radiating the light and power of the Heaven sect, ready to face the coming storm. The Celestial Venerable stands calm and resolute, his eyes meeting the Grandmaster's, unshaken by the threat of annihilation. He mocks the Grandmaster for turning his back on the original agreement that the 3 of them made, which is to aid the Zhou dynasty and fulfill the duty of the investiture of gods. The Grandmaster's fury smolders. Nothing is more important than teaching a lesson to those who humiliated his sect. Around them, disciples take their stances, each prepared to defend their master and their honor. The clash between the spiritual and heaven sects is set, and neither side will yield. The God Annihilation Formation intensifies, its energy reaching a peak, swirling with the anger of the spiritual sect. As the first wave of dark energy collides with celestial light, the heavens tremble. Who will prevail in this battle of gods? Celestial Venerable and the Heaven sect clash fiercely with the Grand Master of Heaven's God Annihilation Formation. The formation, pulsating with dark energy, threatens to consume everything in its path. Yet the Celestial Venerable's resolve remains unbroken, his disciples channeling pure celestial power to withstand the overwhelming force. Grand Master of Heaven commands his disciples to increase their force on the formation. With a dark surge of energy, some of the disciples of Celestial Venerable sustain severe injury, and the Heaven sect appears to weaken greatly. Lao Zi appears and join in the clash, and together with Celestial Venerable to face off against Grand Master of Heaven. 3 of the strongest Celestials clash, with Grand Master of Heaven holding off on his own, with the 4 primordial blades given by his teacher. These blades are strong enough to fence off divine assaults from his 2 brothers. In the act of desperation, Lao Zi summons the Taiji drawing, and the illusions quickly cause confusion to Grand Master of Heaven, while Celestial Venerable conjures a beam of celestial light to knock off his blades. The Grandmaster of Heaven was taken aback, but he was ready to attack again. With the might of Lao Zi and Celestial Venerable keeping Grandmaster of Heaven busy, the Heaven Sect pushes back, their radiant shield piercing through the dark barriers. As cracks spread through the formation, the spiritual sect struggles to maintain their grip. With one final powerful strike, the Heaven Sect breaks through, shattering the God Annihilation formation in a brilliant cascade of light and energy. Just as the heavens tremble in the aftermath, a calm yet commanding presence descends. Hong Jun, the revered teacher of the celestial realms, appears between the warring factions. His eyes hold a timeless wisdom as he raises a hand, silencing both sides with a gentle, yet undeniable power. Hong Jun's voice, filled with both compassion and authority, reveals the truth to the Grandmaster of Heaven. The whispered rumors, the falsehoods, a deception meant to drive him against his peers. Understanding his error, the Grandmaster's rage fades, replaced by a deep humility. He lowers his gaze, relenting, his disciples bowing in quiet reverence. With a nod, Hong Jun departs, leaving the heavens in a fragile peace. But far below, in the dark recesses of Emperor Zhou's palace, the energy left behind from the great clash of gods were siphoned into the tyrant, compounding his evil power. Now he holds partial power of the three strongest celestials on top of his arsenal of dark energy and arcane magic. The final battle is drawing near. At the heart of the Shang Palace, darkness coils and shifts, transforming Emperor Zhou into something monstrous. His form now melds with Daji's fox spirit, her corrupted magic pulsing through his veins. With his glowing eyes and towering demonic stature, Zhou stands as an embodiment of both human cruelty and dark sorcery, his aura warping reality itself. Sun Wukong and Erlang Shen arrive, undaunted by Zhou's new terrifying power. With a swing of his Ruyi Jingubang, Wukong strikes, shattering the stone floors, while Erlang Shen's third eye blazes, raining divine arrows. But Zhou, now infused with Daji's malevolent influence, only grows stronger, their blows feeding his dark power as his laughter echoes through the palace. As the battle rages, two streaks of light appear, Neja and Thunderboy. Neja's spear blazes as he strikes from all sides, while Thunderboy summons lightning that crashes against Zhou's monstrous form. Together, the four heroes unleash a relentless assault, finally cracking Zhou's dark armor, forcing him to falter. With Zhou wavering, Daji's fox spirit tightens her grip on him, a desperate attempt to hold their dark union together. Sensing the moment, Wukong conjures a powerful binding spell, golden energy emanating from his staff as he traps her spirit in place. Erlang Shen strikes with a blinding blast, shattering Daji's form, scattering her dark essence to the winds. Freed from Daji's hold, Zhou's monstrous form begins to crumble, his haunted eyes empty of the terror he once wielded. In a final hollow laugh, he curses the heavens, then hurls himself from the palace tower, disappearing into the abyss below. The darkness that cloaked the kingdom lifts, ending his reign of terror. As dawn breaks over the shattered palace, the heroes stand victorious. The land breathes free again, liberated from Zhou's cruel shadow, as peace finally returns to the kingdom. Sun Wukong, Neja, Erlang Shen, and Thunderboy look out over the palace grounds, the first rays of dawn casting a warm glow on the ravaged battlefield. Their battle has ended, but the scars left by Zhou's tyranny will take time to heal. With Emperor Zhou gone, the land awakens, the curse of his reign lifting. Fields bloom, rivers flow clean once more, and the people, free at last, begin to rebuild. Under the watchful gaze of the heroes, a new era of peace and prosperity begins to dawn. In the aftermath of Emperor Zhou's fall, Zhang Zia stands among the ruins of the Shang dynasty, the mantle of divine appointment resting heavily on his shoulders. Under the watchful gaze of Celestial Venerable, he begins the sacred ritual, appointing heroes and fallen foes alike to their godly roles. Each is chosen to guard and guide the realms, a reflection of both their valor and their faults. The brave are immortalized, while the misguided serve as cautionary spirits, teaching the world of the perils of ambition and cruelty. Among the notables, Neja was appointed the third Lotus Prince, and continues to serve the heavens together with his father, General Lijiang. Lijiang Zi was appointed Thunder God, with the duty to strike thunder together with Lightning Mother. Yang Jian was appointed Erlang Shen, strongest warrior of heaven, with the task to command the army of heaven into battles. As the appointments draw to a close, Sun Wukong stands alone, watching as his allies are honored. But he is not called forth. Instead, he notices the quiet approach of Celestial Venerable, whose gaze rests upon him, full of wisdom and mystery. Away from the ceremony, Celestial Venerable reveals a hidden truth to the Monkey King. This era, these trials, they were not by chance. Celestial Venerable summoned Sun Wukong here to witness the creation of gods, to understand the weight and sacrifice bound to each divine role. The path of power is one of hardship, often misunderstood and fraught with challenges, and one day this knowledge will serve him well. The Monkey King, often restless and irreverent, listens in uncharacteristic silence. Celestial Venerable's eyes gleam with foresight as he continues. Your journey is not yet bound to this time, Wukong. In the era to come, with your indomitable spirit and strength, you will be known by a name revered across the heavens, the victorious combat Buddha. A hint of a smile crosses Wukong's face, a newfound understanding settling within him. With a final nod of respect, Celestial Venerable lifts his hand, the light enveloping the Monkey King, the world blurring around him. A sense of gratitude and purpose fills Wukong as he is pulled back through time. As he fades from view, Celestial Venerable whispers, "Farewell, Wukong. May your journey lead you to wisdom and peace." Erlang Shen will return and journey to the West storyline as the Monkey King's nemesis, invaluable ally later on. The Monkey King has since received mystical training and multiple immortal properties along his path to greatness, and they will face each other once again when the Monkey King wreaks havoc in the celestial heavens. Thank you everyone for watching till the end. Please leave a comment, likes and subscribes on your way. Your support to this channel is very much appreciated.